saw Arnold at his best and you saw Haney at his best. Who do you think was better?
Oh, that's a tough question. But
it would have been close, right, between those two?
It would have been close because Arnold had things on Haney, and Haney had, I believe Haney had better symmetry. In other words, he had better muscle balance.
Yeah.
Arnold had much, much better arms. He had a wider back, and he was a bigger man, Yeah. But I have to say that Arnold at his best, and I would say to look at him in 1974. Do you remember when he won the 74 Olympia?
Sure.
I think that's when he beat Lou Ferrigno.
Yep.
He was at his best that year. I think it was the best year he ever had. Arnold, looking like that, I believe would have defeated Lee Haney, looking like that.
Yeah.
And Arnold in 1980, Lee Haney would have, even the 1990 Lee Haney, which was considerably off, would have defeated the 1980 Arnold.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. Definitely. I guess it depends also on the situation, but that's a really tough question because they were both really great. I mean, two of the greatest ever.
Yeah.
It's hard to say, but Arnold, I don't know. To me, if you ask me who's the single greatest Mr. Olympia, my first answer would be Ronnie Coleman, because he was the freak of all freaks. No one ever matched his muscle size, and he dominated that show. I mean, talk about incumbents. For the years he held the title, it was always for second place. It was kind of similar to Frail Heath for a couple of years.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a foregone conclusion when Ronnie stepped on the stage. Nobody came close to matching his mass. Nobody.
Yeah.
The only guy that came close was Flex Wheeler.
You're saying the most dominant Mr. Olympia.
Oh, the most dominant. I would say was Ronnie Coleman because of that. But for overall greatness, maybe it's because he's done so much with his life. Maybe I'm throwing that into. I would still have to say Arnold. The one in my book. But Ronnie, if you talk about pure bodybuilding, it's Ronnie Coleman.
Yeah.
But for overall greatness, probably Arnold.
But the standards have changed too so much, right, Jerry? I mean, back then, symmetry was considered important, aesthetics. I mean, when I look at pictures of Arnold, like there's a picture of him when he won the 1973 Mr. Olympia, and he's standing on stage with Joe Weider and his girlfriend at the time, Barbara Outland, and he's just standing there, and he looks so perfect. His thighs, his arms, his chest, his waist. I mean, to me, that picture of how he looks at that show, that's the ultimate Mr. Olympia. Like when I think of Mr. Olympia, I think of that. So I mean, Ronnie was obviously much bigger. But Ronnie lost the aesthetic appeal, I think. And then, you could also look at Lee Haney, who I think, I agree with you. I think him and Arnold were like the top of the line when it comes to mass and symmetry and aesthetic appeal. But I think when you talk about the modern day bodybuilder, they've lost that aesthetic appeal. That's why I always prefer to look at guys like from the 70s or 80s as the ultimate bodybuilders.
Well, yeah, you're right. You have to really look at that aspect of bodybuilding because in Arnold's day, as you correctly stated, there was an aesthetic portion of bodybuilding. In other words, you had to have everything in balance. Symmetry was very important.
Right.
I conditioned that. Like I said earlier, when I judged the shows, symmetry and proportion were, to me, the two main ideals to look for in a bodybuilder. I didn't care about big arms or big calves or big. You had to have it all in balance. That to me was the freaking body, and that's what was. That's
good judging too, and not too many judges judge like that anymore, unfortunately.
That's right. You're right.
Bodybuilding Heroes and Legends Volume 1 by John Hansen is the book that celebrates the golden age of bodybuilding. This was the era in which legends such as Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sergio Oliva, Frank Zane, Robbie Robinson, Cal Skalak, and Mike Menser battled it out on stage for the biggest titles in bodybuilding. Read about some of the most exciting competitions that took place in the 1970s, including the Oliva-Schwarzenegger battles, Zane's first Olympia victory, and Skalak's controversial Mr. Olympia appearance, and much more. Filled with inspiring images of some of the greatest bodybuilders in the history of the sport, Bodybuilding Heroes and Legends Volume 1 is now available on Amazon.com or email John directly at naturalolympia@gmail.com.